This is a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.
That's a big cow. Probably old Magic Mike milkshake. 1,800 pounds, do whatever I want, cheese and buttermilk. All right, Milky. Mock headline. Cow loses steer down. Loss is utter disgrace. Gotta go, pal. The box score.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Collins, the box score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes back in Milford, Connecticut. No cows were hurt in that open. I just want to tell you that. You guys did a lot of talk about bias in sports media today. McLovin, what's the biggest bias you've ever encountered?
Bias against, well, I've seen a lot of bias against intellectual blogger sabermetric types out there. Like if someone weighs in with any stat, Dan, it's like, oh, look, they have a stat, nerd boy. What do you think of that? So I face a lot of bias for being an intellectual.
I remember back in, I guess it was 1999 when Walter Payton passed away. I was working at CBS News, not sports, but the news department. I was working in radio that day. When he passed away, it was like a news alert. They did a special report, and the following hour they did another quick bottom-of-the-hour special report, and they led the news with it for about an hour or two, which I thought was pretty cool. And then to watch them how emotionlessly or lack of emotion there was about it, and how they moved it. Like, well, the Peyton story, put that third in the rundown in hour 3. Then hour 4, like fourth in the rundown. Hour 5, it wasn't even mentioned. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm such a Walter Payton fan, but I couldn't let that get in my head. I saw how cold everybody was. It wasn't that they didn't care that Walter Payton was dead, it's that they can't care that someone dies or what is. So it's like an anti-bias, but I was sitting there going, man, I'm learning a lesson today about just because you are into something or think something is important, not everybody does.
Well, all the talk about bias has brought around about some revelations today, including how you guys treat some of your very own biases.
Well, one thing we all have bias. If we like a guy who does an interview with you, we kind of root for that guy later on.
But don't you find that we're tougher on the guy that we like? I mean, J.J. Watt came on yesterday. Seaton's giving him grief. I'm giving him grief. I mean, I feel like the more we know you, the more likely that you're killing Reggie Miller yesterday.
Once you're in the family, you're family, and we treat you like family.
I know.
Dan's right. There's once you become part of the Dan Patrick Show family and you become, somewhat of a regular on the show, we are going to jab and poke at you a little bit. And the Danettes in recent months have gotten more involved, not just Dan teasing guys. So there may be there's definitely that bias, when we're looking at certain guests and we want to see who we want to have on the show, and when we're rooting for certain players and coaches. I know I do it all the time when there's someone that's had a good appearance on the show and they have nothing to do, as long as they're not going up against one of my favorite teams. I want them to do great. Colt McCoy's been a great guest in the past, and besides the fact that it was a good story seeing him going to Dallas and win as the third-string quarterback, it was great to see him do that. And I'll always root for guys that are friendly with the show and take the time to come on a regular basis.
Well, sports brings out all sorts of bias, as does music. And Seaton, you busted out these today. It was 2 big old box sets of Led Zeppelin today with unreleased songs and redigitized masters. I mean, are you pretty bummed that Dan called dibs on these?
No, I mean, Dan, it was really unnecessary for Dan to call dibs on them. So nobody was going to try to walk away with those once Dan had seen them. If we just hid them from the start,
then we would have had a better chance. But no, Dan, that was really just him making sure that everybody else outside of the room knew that he was taking those home. Everybody in here was well aware.
All right. Well, the debate caught the attention of Mike Breen when he dialed in, and he had this take on it.
Hey, Dano, I just saw those the Led Zeppelin album covers you just showed.
Yes.
You know, this has been a promotion of mine for years. There's not enough love given to Jethro Tull. To me, it's the greatest rock band of all time, and no one ever mentions it. You know, we see the Led Zeppelin, we see the Rolling Stones. We need more Jethro Tull love.
I think a guy in tights playing a flute just not resonate as much as it should in the rock and roll world there, Ian Anderson. So maybe that's the problem, Mike. I think it's the presentation of Jethro Tull.
Yeah, I mean, I think you get this one a lot. It's bands like Jethro Tull or like Molly Hatchet, and you know, it almost even Rush to an extent, that don't really get the credit that they deserve. That being said, I'm not one of them who gives them the credit because I'm not really into them. There's a certain like Hobbit, Lord of the Rings quality to Jethro Tull that I feel like I should be dressed up as like an elf when I'm watching them. Like, I'm not into it for some reason.
Did it feel like Mike Breen may have been kidding? Because I couldn't tell. I thought he was making a joke because he and Dan are tight. But then I'm not sure if he was making a joke or not. Because if it was a good joke. If not, he hit it well.
I don't think he was joking. I don't think he would joke about Jethro Tull. Well, let's get
Jethro
serious.
Tull is not good, so how could he say that?
Skating away, thick as a brick. Come on. All right, well, all right. Favorite artist and favorite album. Paulie, start us off. Let's go around the horn.
Artist and album. Oh man. Prince, Purple Rain. That's my favorite album, probably. Just a great album. He's not my favorite artist, but that was off the top of my head.
Wow.
Or Off the Wall by Michael Jackson.
Velvet Underground, or Rolling Stones' Beggar's Banquet are my two favorites. I'm going with two favorites.
Man, I could think of a lot, like other questions, like who would I rather kill easier than this?
Right.
I'm gonna say Jawbreaker, 24-Hour Revenge Therapy. It's my favorite.
Love the Jawbreakers.
I'm going to go Hall & Oates, Rock and Soul Part 1, followed by Billy Joel, Glass Houses, and if I could sneak in a third, I'd go Raising Hell, Run DMC.
I know we could. I thought it was for favorite, not best three.
What about Rock and Roll Part 2? That was not as good?
Not quite as good. Rock and Soul Part 1 pretty much had all their hits.
But is that a greatest hits? Greatest hits can't count as a
If
favorite
we don't
album.
count that, then I'm going to go Billy Joel, Glass Houses.
Oh, that was a greatest hits you put in?
Rock and Soul Part 1 had a lot of their top songs on it, but there was other. They didn't call it greatest hits; they just called it Rock and Soul Part 1.
I'm going to do one of those K-Tel albums that had hits from.
Full Tilt.
Yeah. K-Tel, Full Tilt. It was a lot of
your local,
Kool and the Gang.
your local Sam Goody
Kool and the
store.
Gang, Olivia Newton-John. She's a Bad Mamma Jamma.
I don't know. I'm gonna go Jimmy Buffett, but I think that's a greatest album. It's with Songs of a Sailor, Son of a Son of a Sailor. One of those. It's Jimmy Buffett.
Sounds like it's your favorite.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, like choosing your state. Oh, DeBarge, All This Love. How about that? Okay. Coming up, there may be a change in the dress code in the man cave.
Dan is wearing sweats today. These really cool looking Adidas black striped ones. Somehow he makes it work. If I did that, I'd look like George Costanza. Fritzy does look like George Costanza, you know, but it opens up Pandora's box. What if the Danettes start dressing how they want to dress?
Welcome back to the box score. That's McLovin warning if Pandora's box is open since Dan wore sweatpants in today. Seton, what's the worst thing that can happen if the Danettes are allowed to dress as they want?
Well, you know, it's an interesting topic because when we went and got lunch today, we were talking about, so do we all show up in sweatpants tomorrow? And like I'll go sweatpants and you know, I don't know, flip-flops, sandals, whatever. I kind of feel like if you put on sweatpants, you've already given up on the day. Like, that's it. Like, I'm not really going to do anything today. I'm not going to be productive at all. The day's over.
Nothing's going to happen in my life special.
But did you feel that way with Dan's sweatpants? They didn't say I've given up.
He had dressy sweatpants.
He is hosting his own national TV and radio show whilst in sweatpants. If you're doing that, then you are doing something with your day. But generally, when you put on sweatpants, you're punching the clock.
But didn't it have a feel of like, is he really here? today or not? Like the sweatpants?
I felt like he had a little bit of, I own a mid-sized tech company. I've already, I'm still innovating, but I've already cashed out in a sense. Like, I didn't feel like total giving up on that.
Already cashed out in a sense, though.
Ooh, libelous.
No.
I respect
like he's already 1 foot out the door.
He's like
Who is wearing sweatpants tomorrow to work?
Wait, I'll do it if you guys do it. But every time that it's ever been that situation, it's just
That sounds like a great idea.
I'll do it. Just like the skit from last week where I had to pretend to. What? I'll do it because everyone to do it never works.
Dan was asked about the slight change in wardrobe and issued this ultimatum.
Cool pants.
I don't know.
But you've opened a sweatpant door that has previously not been opened by you.
I love that you did
Fritzy would wear sweatpants for life.
Yeah, you can if you want.
Occasionally?
No, none of the Zubaz.
Why, because it's too open in the middle there?
But you don't wear underwear. If you wear underwear, you can wear sweatpants.
Okay.
Oh, that's a great idea.
No, that's fair. That's for us.
Shockingly.
We have to look at you.
Yeah, this is something because Fritzy has a lot of clothes, and he wears the same things in a rotation over and over and over. And like today, he's wearing a summer golf outfit, and it is warm out though. It is mild. If you let Fritzy wear sweatpants, but he has to wear underwear, I don't think he's going to take that. I think he would rather go with a more normal pair of jeans, rubbing up and down against his body, chafing everything inside.
Yeah, that is very true. If underwear's got to be thrown in, then it defeats the whole purpose of the sweatpants. I'm hoping there'll be a movement to work some more sweats in. But if underwear is involved, I'll probably just go.
But your sweats are like those gray sweatpant material with a string.
Oh yeah, it's like Rocky Balboa's sweats in Rocky 2 when he's punching.
Yeah, it's got kind of worn out.
Dan was honored by GQ magazine as fashionable in the last 2 weeks.
Not for this show.
Well, hold on a second. Right now, this is the show that Dan dresses himself. At the other show, he's got a wardrobe department.
Well, I gotta tell you, I see hipsters walking around Brooklyn. They're wearing pants more like Dan's than are like normal Gap jeans. I feel like that was an interesting mix-up.
We're not in Brooklyn, and Dan's not 20.
Right.
Tell
Fritzy,
GQ.
Fritzy, we have to ask, did you wear sweatpants that night at the OG?
I wear sweatpants every chance I get. So whenever you're not seeing me, assume that I either have no clothes on or I'm just I'm wearing sweats.
Were you wearing any clothes at OG too?
No, just sweats. Sweats and
What, just like no shirt and sweats?
An Astros cap.
Oh, okay.
I'll wear like a little tank top from the mid to late '80s, but
What are you, jazzercising?
pretty much. I put a little headband on.
We know how ripped he was back then. I would wear a tank top too.
Those days are gone, my friend. Okay, stick around. We are going to test the guy's horror movie knowledge. Maybe just have a visual of him in sweats.
You would not be a good bad guy like that, like Jason or Freddy Krueger.
I would not. I'd say, by the way, I'm thinking about, chopping you up a little bit, but I should let you know in advance that this is going to hurt. It's going to be a lot of blood. You may not survive this.
You would be a very,
you may wanna
very,
start running.
yeah, you'd be a very polite mass murderer.
We're back here on the box score. You just saw Todd Fritz, his representation of Jason Voorhees on Friday the 13th. McLovin, were you afraid that you might have to testify in a cold case after sitting next to him?
No, see, Todd's more of a lover than a fighter. I really can't see him being a serial killer. I've thought about it, which one of us is most likely to be a serial killer. For some reason, I just don't see Todd bothering to actually kill people. He's got a lot of traits.
It's tough to look through someone's window late at night with one of those masks.
Yeah.
The sightlines are horrible.
Lurking and stalking is one thing, but to actually go about committing some type of horrible, violent crime, I would probably stop short of that and just, go back on my way and head home at that point.
Fritzy, was that the first time you dressed up for Halloween in the man cave?
I think it was. I know we've all at some point or another worn, either we lost a bet or what have you, wear some, costumes. I recently had the Victoria's Secret angel wings on and, a jersey with no pants or underwear on underneath. But, I can't remember, anything other than that particular mask. I know Seaton's worn the tiger costume. I'd have to give that some more thought. But that was, I think, the first time I really put on something that would even remotely resemble a Halloween costume.
Well, Jason Voorhees, of course, was the villain in the Friday the 13th movies, all 75 of them. And with Halloween just on the horizon this week, we wanted to test the guys' horror movie knowledge. So we're going to give you a quiz and ask you, is it a horror movie or not? It's row versus row, and there are no steals. First one to the front row is Trick or Treat a horror movie or not? Trick or Treat.
Wow. Is Trick or Treat a horror movie or not? I'm going to say no.
I'll say no.
I'm sorry, but it is a horror movie starring Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, God.
Was it
Look
ever
at that.
released even on DVD? I'm going to look into this.
Next up, the back row. Is The Devil's Dog a horror movie or not? Devil's Dog.
The Devil's Dog. I
I've never
remember the
heard.
Devil,
It's
the
like
Devil
some
Dog
Rob
drinks
Zombie
cakes.
would do.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I think it's a dessert. It's a
Yeah, Devil Dogs are
Devil
the
Dogs is
yodels,
so
like the
good.
drinks cakes.
Love those.
not a movie.
Sounds more like a snack than a movie. No movie.
Okay, I guess it is not a horror movie. In fact, it's not an actual movie at all. It's just something someone made up around the office. Back to the front row. Is Before the Devil Knows You're Dead a horror movie or not?
I know the phrase.
Isn't that the one? Isn't that like a real movie, but it's not a horror movie? What's the one that just came with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Marissa Tomei? Wasn't that called like something about Devil Knows You're Dead?
Weekend at Bernie's?
I don't know.
We don't know.
She's so hot though.
Yeah, she's hot.
So hot.
Okay.
And our answer is yes, she's hot.
Well, you are correct. Marissa Tomei is hot. It isn't a horror movie, but it is a thriller starring Ethan Hawke and Marissa Tomei. This one
horror movie
is for the.
That's not a horror movie.
No, it's a thriller. It's a thriller. This one is for the back row. Is the movie Vampire
get that right or
Hookers
wrong?
a horror movie? You got it correct. Is the movie Vampire Hookers a horror movie or not?
Fritzy, that was on Cinemax
you know
last
what?
night.
I didn't catch that. I sure hope that is, and that's something that'll go into the rotation. I'm going to say Vampire Hookers. That's too good to be true. That is it is a horror movie.
You are absolutely correct. A 1978 comedy horror movie starring John Carradine.
Vampire Hookers. How about that?
Carradine.
How did I miss that one?
One more for the front row. Is Killer Clowns from Outer Space a horror movie or not?
It is. Is what's her name in it? Tall actress, 80s, 90s. Starts with a G. She was in the baseball movie Women
Gina
Playing Baseball.
Davis.
Gina Davis might be in it.
Whoa.
So yes, you are correct. It is a horror movie. We don't know if she is in it or not. She might be. Oh, she's not. I'm hearing.
Amazing if Gina Davis is in it.
And it's in space, and no one can eat ice cream. Okay, last one is for the back row. Speaking of ice cream, is the movie Ice Cream Man a horror movie or not?
If Fritzy's the ice cream man, then it is.
See, why would they make that up if it wasn't a horror movie? Like, what devilish mind would think of Ice Cream Man? Although they did do Devil Dogs.
No, there's Candyman.
Oh, so
and
you say
sequels
no?
to Candyman. I think we're being tricked
I
out.
think it is.
You do?
Yeah, I think
All right, I'm going to go on record as saying it's not, but we're going to go
Ice
with
Cream Man
McLovin's
always
answer.
rings twice.
Absolutely. I don't think it stars Jack Nicholson, though. It is a horror movie starring Ron Howard's brother, Clint.
Nice.
Who's clearly the more talented in the family.
Clint Howard as
Good job to both front and back row. It is a tie.
Ice Cream Man.
Still to come, Paul Pabst came across a piece of music today, but forgot to mention where he got it from. Tisk, tisk.
It's Patrick O'Connor. Self-titled album. He looks different. I mean, but that's a long time ago, Seton. Some of the songs, Only Looking for Love, You've Got to Be Beautiful.
That's a hickey on my neck.
Clancy's Bar, which...
I've been to Clancy's Bar.
Yeah.
Who hasn't?
Written, produced, arranged, all by Patrick
By
O'Connor.
Timberlake.
Does anyone have...
Timberland.
Welcome back to the box score. Last call here. Paulie with a little show and tell there with the internationally acclaimed album by Patrick O'Connor, not to be confused with Seton O'Connor, shared it with the world today, but what he failed to mention was how he heard about this album. this 1982 self-titled LP released by Patrick O'Connor. This vinyl includes O'Connor favorites like Falling Again, Clancy's Bar, and I Guess I Love You. Polly, tell us if it's worth or worthless.
Look at that stallion.
Wow. Oh, man. I'm going to go $5.99.
Oh, holy moly, it's $6.
You know, that omission, Brock, was not an accident. Yes, the origin of this album was the box score, one of the popular games on the box score. Now, that being said, when I won the contest and guessed right on the number, I thought that it would be sent, and it would be sent out here for the show. I had to pursue this piece of memorabilia, and the prop budget, I guess, got cut during this past week. So it was
probably
really
the Beamer for the Open, but anyway,
the explosives for Brock Squatch. So I had to chase this piece of memorabilia down myself and make many, many calls and emails to the West Coast to try to get this $5.99 item sent out here.
Well, we are sorry that we delayed.
Don't be sorry, Brock.
The producers are. I mean, I had nothing to do with it. I wouldn't have sent it out to you. Okay, Fritzy, we will promote the Dan Patrick Show. Who is on tomorrow?
Mississippi State Bulldogs coach Dan Mullen will join us, and guard for the Clippers, J.J. Redick, will be with us as well, pursuing some other things. But that's what we're looking at right now for the Wednesday edition.
Very good. Thanks for watching the box score. Catch us every weekday at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on Audience Channel 239. Our podcast is also available on iTunes or at podcastone.com, where you can probably catch that Patrick O'Connor album. Cheers.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey! Thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!
This was a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.